Today I'm going to cover some of the features of products in DocketShop. Right now I have a product set selected called Heavy Material Dumpsters, and a product set consists of multiple products that are typically similar in some ways but different in other ways. So right now I have a heavy materials dumpster that's large, one that's medium, and one that's small, and they have some different prices here. So I have the medium dumpster selected. Right now, it's got a product type merchandise, which is typically something that's physical, something that can be touched. That is what is thought of as merchandise. And sometimes pickup and delivery windows apply. So in this case, a pickup and drop off will apply, and we'll see some of those settings when we scroll down here. So this product has a title. It's got a subtitle with some extra detail that customers will see when they click through in your storefront. There's a description field here. I currently don't have anything typed out, but if you fill this out, when customers click the product, they'll be shown these details in a special format of its own that bubbles it up to the surface. It's a focused view of your product. Continuing on, we've got product notes. Product notes are an important piece that allow you to convey some extra information at the time that customers add an item to their cart. So right now I've got this note text here that says, please no concrete in this bin. So when customers add this item, if they add this item, they will see some detail in their invoice along the right-hand side that says this information. So it's kind of hard to avoid and allows you to really drive home something that's important to you and your product and your business. Pricing and availability. We have three pricing models: fixed, variable, and no pricing model. Fixed pricing is the simplest of the priced models. It allows you to have different service lengths at fixed prices, like $300, and then set a day over price. So I can say $40 to a maximum of 5 days. So when customers go to book, it'll cost $300. And up to 5 extra days they're allowed to book, they'll be charged $40 per day. You can see here I can add some extra service lengths. So I can say 7 days at $350, and I'm going to charge the same up to 5 days. I'm going to do $40 a day, and I can add that here. Right now I have both of these service lengths set to exactly 5 or 7 days. So when customers are scheduling their service, they'll be forced to pick 5 or 7 days on the schedule. They cannot have that item returned early. To enable this so that customers can have more flexibility, you can say up to 5 days. So when they go to schedule, they can say, I'm done with my bin. It's been 3 days. You can go ahead and pick it up. They can schedule it that way if you set it to up to. The variable pricing model, where what we call a pricing matrix is used, allows a little more flexibility in the pricing. So you're not necessarily listing something for a flat $300. You're taking into account things like the zip code, perhaps, or the distance that drivers had to drive, or even the material that went into the bin. You take all those things together and you have a final price. If a pricing matrix seems like something you're interested in, that you want to apply to your business, please ask one of us and we can help you get that set up. The last one is the no pricing model. These are for things like this product I have over here, which is a junk removal booking. I'll go into that in a little bit detail later, but this is where you're typically using the shopping cart as a booking tool. So customers can add things to their cart. There's no charge incurred from adding them, but they will be placed on your schedule and you can handle that job at the time of scheduling. Continuing on, we have some other kinds of service types. We have open-ended servicing. So this allows you to offer to customers a base price, say $200, and then the customer will they'll be allowed to book that item out open-ended. So when the customer eventually calls and says, hey, come pick this up, you can complete the payment at that time and decide on the final price. There's also daily rate servicing, which allows you to, again, offer base price say $200. And then a customer can choose their own service length, but they'll be charged a certain amount every day. So I have this set $50 a day. If they booked it out 6 days, it would be $500. We offer options for time frames. There's a lot of options in here to slice and dice how you may want to have time frames for your products. So if I said 1 hour interval, I open my business, I'll start servicing at 8 a.m. and I stop servicing at 4 p.m. The end result would be when at the time of booking, a customer will see 8 a.m., they'll see 9 a.m., then 10 a.m., because I've got that interval separated by an hour up until 4 p.m. Then there's a few other options here that you can explore and see if they work for you. The last things we have here in the product settings is available service start days. So across an entire week, you can block out specific days of the week that you choose not to service. So right now I have that I don't service on weekends. Those days are blocked out. When customers go to schedule, they'll see that these days are blocked out. It will not be possible for them to schedule a drop-off or a pickup on that day. And then we have product attributes, which are typically used for the pricing matrix I talked about under variable pricing. You can use these attributes to help gather that price. So these attributes right now are typically used for a pricing matrix. And that is everything you need to know about setting up your product. Hello, today I'm going to be talking about fees within the products page of DocketShop. So fees are really useful. They help you collect extra money depending on the need, depending on your service. So in this case, we've got a fuel surcharge, and I've got a few fuel surcharges, a few types in here that I'm going to cover. The simplest of the bunch is a flat fee. So I've got this flat fuel surcharge, and what you see is what you get. The fee amount's $100. So if I make this active, then when customers add a product from this product set, they will be charged a fuel surcharge, and that'll be shown in their invoice, and $100 will be listed, added to their total. So that's a flat fee. Making things a little more detailed is the range fee. So a range fee allows us to capitalize on a value collected within our storefront. So in this case, I have this configured to collect the service distance value. So a customer is going to type in their service address, and depending on your place of business, we're going to calculate how far is a driver going to go to complete service. So based on how many miles they go, the customer is going to be charged a certain fee. So we've got 3 ranges set up here. We've got from 10 to 20 miles, from 20 to 30 miles, and then 30 to open-ended. So from 10 to 20, we're going to charge 25. From 20 to 30, we're going to charge 50. And then let's go ahead and fill this out and say, after 30 miles, it's going to be $75. And we can make that active too, and that would become another fuel surcharge with some dynamic pricing involved. The most advanced set is the scaling fee. So this fuel surcharge is a scaling fee, and we're going to capitalize on the service distance again. Now this one works in a way where we're going to multiply the value collected based on the unit size and charge per unit. So what does all that mean? So in this case, I've said from 10 to 30 miles, for every 1 mile, we're going to charge $2. So in a practical sense, what that means is that if my driver went 20 miles, a customer is going to be charged $20 because it's 10 miles over the minimum at $2 a mile. So that's 10 times 2. That's some math involved, but it does allow you to have some more finite control over your fees. Say 23 miles, 24, 25. I can really charge my customer for exactly what I am being charged for fuel in this case. Today I'm going to be talking about the workflow editor within DocketShop in the storefronts page. The workflow editor is a highly customizable configuration tool for your storefront. You can see along the left here, I have a list of forms top to bottom. So these are the order in which a customer will navigate the shopping cart. They start with service address lookup. They're asked a question about what time frame they want service to begin. They're asked about material and so on, all the way up to payment. So if I roll back, I can see service address lookup. And when I click that, I get a list of options about my service address form. I can add and change options around a background image. You see, I can blur it or not blur it. So there's some customizability here to make it your own. And then as I go along, there's different text fields that can be customized. So right now, the heading here says, let's get started. If I want to change that and say, thank you for shopping with us. You see, as I do that, you get a live preview of exactly what it's going to look like on your website when customers come to your storefront. Moving along, we have two different kinds of servicing ranges. You can either do a service radius, where you define an address and a number of miles, and you get a little preview here of what area that would cover. Or you can select a list of zip codes, comma-separated list of zip code numbers that you service, which allows a little more fidelity than a service radius. But you need to have a list of zip codes provided that you can upload here. If customers are outside of the service area, they'll be provided a splash screen with some information that you can list. You can say service not available, and right now there's some text content here that says, please call us at this number and we'll do our best to help you. So that is what would occur if somebody typed an address that's not in the service area. Moving along, we have a question form. So questions are a very interesting way of redirecting customers to different aspects of your form. So for example, you could ask a question. Let's move to this next one. I have this material type one, and I have 3 answers here for what material type is being placed in the dumpster. Got junk clean out, asphalt, and concrete. If I wanted to, I could create a product list. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to say add forms up here in the top left. When I click that, I'm going to be presented with this expansion where I can add extra forms in between my existing forms. So I've already got standard dumpsters. Let's say I want to add a product list. So I clicked here and I say product list, and it adds it here to my, my list of forms. And in here, I've got the settings for my product list. I want to add heavy material dumpsters from my set of products that I've defined. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I'm going to save. And then I'm going to come back to my material type question, and I'm going to do something pretty powerful here with my workflow. I'm going to say that if someone answers concrete, I want to redirect them to my product list that has heavy material dumpsters. So if I click that and save, when I click junk clean out, so this is one that I didn't put the redirect. When I put junk clean out, I'm going to go to the next form, which is the contact sheet. But if I pick concrete, I'm going to get redirected to my heavy materials. So you can imagine combining questions and redirects. You can do a high degree of customizability in your cart to offer different products and different workflows. So each of these forms has their own options, their own customization. Feel free to click around and add forms and just play with it a little bit and make it your own. In addition, at any point in time, you can preview your cart. You notice as I'm clicking, it shows the form that I've clicked and I'm working with. I can switch one of these to from desktop to mobile. So I'm up here in this drop down, I'm selecting mobile. I can get a little preview of what it would look like on a phone format on each step of the way. If you have any questions about workflows, please feel free to contact us at Docket, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Today I'm going to be covering the embed section of storefronts. This is how you can get your shopping cart onto your website. It's a little detail oriented, but it's really not too hard. So right here I have a CSS class trigger name, and this means a lot to folks that are involved in the web world. A CSS class can be applied to a button, and with this name, that is what will trigger your shopping cart to open. I also have a specific storefront configuration selected. I only have one right now. And then when this trigger is called, this storefront will be presented. I have a list of storefronts that I've created in the past, but I want my storefront to be shown. And I can test what this would look like on my site if I click test trigger. So I'm going to do that right now. It pulls my cart up, and it shows a preview of my cart. So this is exactly what it would look like on your website with that configuration. When I'm happy and satisfied with my trigger, I can click show code, which gives you this script that you can copy into your website and get it on your site. And if you need any help with that, just feel free to reach out. This setup is for the pop-up version of the shopping cart that you just saw. We also offer the embedded version. If you copy this out and put it in your address bar in your web browser, you can go directly to the shopping cart. So this allows you to take the URL and put it on your Facebook page, put it in an advertisement. It just takes customers directly to the cart. If you need any help with this and other things, please feel free to reach out using support within Docket, and we would love to help. Today I'm going to be talking about the dashboard page within DocketShop. You can see I have orders selected here, so I get a little preview of my orders that have come in for my storefront. I've got this customer selected that I have a preview of their service range and how much they were charged, and then an invoice about that sale. And you can see more about this sale within Docket's invoices section. And in there, you'll be able to modify that invoice, issue refunds, change charges, and so on. The other tab here is the Sessions tab. So the Sessions tab is very powerful in getting some insight into what is happening with your shopping cart. So you can see here, I've got some sessions that have occurred. So these are people that have come to my storefront and they either submitted an order or they didn't. And that's when you see this listing of abandoned. So this is the idea of an abandoned cart. So when I click on this session, I can see exactly how the individual spent their time in my storefront. So I can see they spent about 30 seconds in the dumpsters product page. They added their cart here at around the 48-second mark. And then they spent the rest of their time in contact and delivery filling out their form. So this can help aid in understanding where people are either spending too little time or too much time. It might help you optimize your cart, either make it simpler or ask more questions. Along the top, you can see some information about the visitor, their screen size, the time zone that they came from, and so on. Flipping over, we have the raw session details. So this is where you can really see the nitty-gritty of an individual, all the information that they put together over their session. So I can see the zip code, information about whether or not they checked the service agreement, and then answers to questions. So in this case, I had a question that I asked in the storefront. What time frame would it need to be started at? And this individual picked the morning. So again, sessions can be useful in tracking down information about how users are using your cart. One practical example of using this information is perhaps going across orders. If somebody's abandoning your cart and they're not in the service area, you might look at the raw session detail, take a peek at the service address zip code, and see if there's some consistent orders, or not orders, but rather sessions that come in where that zip code is at a service. You might think, well, maybe I should add that zip code to my service area. I might be able to pull in some more orders. So that's the gist of what's in the Sessions tab within the product dashboard. If you've watched our other videos on creating products, creating workflows, website embeds, you're probably at the point where you've embedded your shopping cart on your site and you're ready to take orders from customers. So today in this video, we're going to walk through what that looks like when you've completed all the work and the shopping cart's on your site. So this is an example site that is using a DocketShop shopping cart. And up here, you can click Book Your Dumpster Online. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it loads your shopping cart really quick. And it allows your customer to add their service address. So I'm going to add a service address that I know is in the radius for this seller. And click Verify. And when I do that, me as the customer, I'm going to get a little preview here of this address. It's a satellite view that shows about where it believes this address is. If I think it looks right, I can click that looks right. Otherwise, I can click try again and type something different. So this looks good to me. I'm going to keep going. So in this case, the shopping cart, the first thing they do is they ask a question. They ask, what kind of material are you putting in this bin? And depending on what I pick here, it may direct me to different products. So in this case, I'm going to click Household Items. Moves me to the next form to pick a dumpster size. We are using and taking advantage of some extra information up here in the product list, which you'll remember from the workflow video is an option available. We have different cards here for each of the products that tell us how many service days are available and some description text for each bin. So I'm going to add this 20-yard dumpster. Price is going to get retrieved, and then it shows up here in the invoice section. Now press Continue. This is where customers add their contact information. So I'm going to type in my information here. And I'm going to scroll down, and I can see how many bins are available on each day. So I would like to schedule for the 18th. You can see this little notation here telling me to select an end date. And I'm going to go, let's say I need mine through the 27th. So this was a 7-day servicing agreement, and I went 2 extra days. And so you can see this here. This seller has configured their cart to allow for extra service days at an extra $35 per day. And so customers get that right here in the invoice section. They can see how they're being charged. Some placement notes. I'm going to say in my driveway is where I'd like the bin to be. Press Continue. I'm now being asked for a time frame. Let's say I want it right in the middle of the day. It'll continue me forward to read the terms and conditions, which I will do. Scroll to the bottom. I'm a fast reader. That looks good to me. I click here, write my signature. Very pretty. Click Next. And then I will be allowed to enter my payment information, review whether or not my billing address is the same as my service address. And in this case, this seller has a payment disclaimer, a little extra notice about how charges are made. I'll say I'm aware. And if I had filled out my payment information, I'd be able to place my order. And so that beginning to end is what a shopping cart example looks like on your site.